if you plan to purchase the new José Mourinho manager with the new link-up mechanic in the eFootball shop, don't do it. After the eFootball League reset, I have tested this manager and his new link-up mechanic on the way from Division 3 to Division 1. And I found him to be not that effective in the current state of eFootball. So in this video, I want to explain to you why exactly you might want to wait for a new manager with this link-up mechanic and not buy José Mourinho. I've noticed two major problems with him. The first one, completely unrelated with the new link-up mechanic, is his playstyle. Lately, a lot less people began using quick counter because of how high the defensive line with this manager playstyle is. A high defensive line will allow counter-attacking opponents to actively abuse those weaknesses in your defense. This was a problem even before eFootball 2026 came out, but if some of you have already played a lot of matches, and especially online matches, you might have noticed that the speed, dribbling, and even the runs the players make have changed. Now it seems like your defenders get outrun more easily, and through balls made by the opponent can be extremely dangerous. With a high defensive line, it will be much more easy for fast players to easily make runs and score with just one through ball to their striker. The other current manager with this link-up mechanic is of course Amorim. The problem with him is that his playstyle is also not that optimal, it's out wide. So out of those two, I would probably still choose José Mourinho, but ultimately, I would wait for a manager with a better playstyle and this new link-up mechanic. So a manager with either the possession game playstyle or the long ball counter playstyle, which by many pros are considered the best playstyles in the game, especially when it comes to defense, as those two playstyles have a deeper defensive line. One good thing to note about this playstyle in the new game eFootball 2026 is that when it comes to the offensive part of the game, it is pretty easy and straightforward to attack with quick counter. I never really had games where my strikers and attackers had trouble making runs, and with José Mourinho I ended up playing a game of who scored more. So because of the high defensive line and quite a few goals I conceded almost every game, I almost always had to just simply outscore and attack more than the opponent. And oftentimes that did work out, but obviously I wouldn't just rely on simply scoring more goals than your opponent. Your defense should also be good. Let's now talk about the new link-up feature, and more specifically, for this manager, it is called Diagonal Long Pass A. Let me quickly explain to you how this feature works. To activate this feature, you will have to play one AMF with the playing style Creative Playmaker and a keyman with either the position LMF or RMF and the playing style Whole Player. Now here is where the first problem with this feature comes into play. Be honest and tell me in the comments how many of you actually actively use this combo of players. How many of you actually use a whole player at LMF or RMF and a Creative Playmaker at AMF? In my opinion, this specific combo of players and playstyles limits your playing style extremely and gives you less options to design your lineup the way you actually want it. Now, moving on to how this feature actually works. As it is stated here, the keyman, so the whole player, moves forward aggressively, so basically makes runs, when the centerpiece, so the AMF Creative Playmaker, has the ball in the middle third. Passes made by the centerpiece or the AMF and chipped through balls will have better accuracy. As soon as my AMF, in this case Kaká, had the ball, the whole player would make aggressive runs and the passing of my AMF to this whole player ended up being better. Now the important thing, I actually wouldn't use this link-up feature the way the game wants us to use it. You see, the game wants us to play long through balls to this hole player. Instead, I would play the hole player and the creative playmaker close to each other, so they are actively able to pass to each other. Playing such a long through ball will almost never work. But if those two players are next to each other, remember, normal through balls also have better accuracy and benefit the same way from this link-up feature. So there's no reason to actually go for these long through balls the way the game wants you to play. Now, let me actually tell you my opinion on this link-up feature. It was definitely noticeable in-game, but ultimately, I don't really see a reason to actively use this feature. Firstly, it limits your squad building ability a lot. Ultimately, it's not even that effective, since hole players, or just players with the playing style hole player, generally make a lot of runs by themselves. I don't think it's really needed for them to make even more aggressive runs. For those two reasons, I would actually wait for a manager with a better link-up to be released. For example, imagine a manager with a link-up synergy between two goal poachers, or let's say a goal poacher and a hole player AMF. Now that would be something worth going for and something you could actively use without actually limiting your lineups and the team you built. To sum it all up, I simply believe the new José Mourinho is just not worth buying. Firstly, because his playstyle quick counter is not performing that well currently, and secondly, because his link-up feature heavily limits your squad building ability while also not being that effective. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, leave some likes and comments if you'd like to.